Now, coming off the back of the last tip here, what allocation of time should you spend on EQing tracks? This is just basic time management, right? You spend the majority of your time on the things that matter the most. And what kind of things would matter the most in this mix here? Let me just unsolo all of these and play it from, say, here. That I'll go wherever. Lead vocal, spend the most of your time on the lead vocal. I would say spend the least of the amount of time on internal loops and internal instruments within your DAW, because a lot of work has been spent at the manufacturer, at Avid, at Propeller, at Cubase, all of those guys. They spend a lot of time making sure those internal sounds sound really good out of the box. So I would spend the least amount of time, probably nothing at all most of the time, and then spend the most time on the lead vocal, and then in varying amounts as it goes through the mix. The lower things are in the mix, clearly you want to spend the least amount of time. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time EQing these falsetto parts over here because they're very low in the mix. You really don't hear them until they're in a blend. I know you might say, well, okay, well, I should spend as much time as I can on each track. You have so much time, only so much time to EQ and mix a whole song before you actually get really sick of it. So spend the most time on the lead vocal and various other instruments. Anything comes in through a microphone that isn't some pre-processed loops and things like that, spend some time on those ones as well. And anything down low in the mix, you won't get a lot of bang for the buck messing around with the EQ on these falsetto parts. And finally, the number one tip in the EQ Masterclass is mix with your ears. I know I've been showing you all the virtues of using a Spectrum viewer, but sometimes you just got to turn that off and then start moving these knobs around until you find something that's pleasing to your ear. I mean, you may have it stuck in your head. You know what? The kind of boxiness of a vocal is 300 hertz, and so you're always dialing that, and you start really fixating on all these little numbers. Best thing to do sometimes is just start playing around with these EQ settings until you have something that sounds good to your ear. And an adjunct to this final tip is that if you're going to use your ears, then invest in some really nice monitors. I would invest probably a third to a half of my entire budget to monitors. It's a really, really good investment, because at the end of the day, it's what's coming out of your monitors that is your final product.